The mirror cracked. Not from the force of my fist, though God knows I wanted to punch it, but from the weight of what I saw reflected back at me. My sister Vanessa stood in the center of the gym, surrounded by a crowd of admirers, demonstrating my core routine. The same routine I'd spent months perfecting in secret, the same exercises I'd meticulously researched, the same sequence I'd planned to reveal at the Fitness Influencer Expo next week. She was wearing my signature colors too, coral and white, the exact combination I'd chosen for my brand. And this move, Vanessa chirped, her ponytail bouncing as she dropped into a perfect pistol squat, really targets the glutes and quads simultaneously. I developed it after analyzing biomechanics for 6 months. 6 months! I'd spent 2 years developing that routine. 2 years of early mornings, failed attempts, pulled muscles, and countless hours studying kinesiology textbooks I'd bought with money from my part-time job at the diner. The gym owner, Marcus, beamed at her like she'd invented exercise itself. "Vanessa, this is revolutionary. We should feature you in our newsletter. Maybe even offer you a training position." My chest tightened. That was supposed to be my position. I'd applied 3 times. Then I saw it, the final insult. On the wall behind her hung a massive banner, Vanessa Chen's VanFit method, transform your body in 90 days. My methodology. My name replaced with hers. The world started spinning. The fluorescent lights above grew unbearably bright, then impossibly dim. I reached for the wall to steady myself, but my hand passed through empty air. The last thing I heard before everything went black was Vanessa's laugh, that high, tinkling sound that had haunted my entire life. Then I was falling. Falling through darkness, falling through time. I woke up gasping, tangled in sheets that smelled like lavender detergent. Sunlight streamed through curtains I recognized but hadn't seen in years. My hands flew to my face, feeling skin that was somehow tighter, younger. I stumbled out of bed and caught sight of myself in the mirror. I was 18 again. My hair was longer, darker, without the highlights I'd gotten at 23. My body was softer, less defined. The body I'd had before I'd discovered fitness, before I'd transformed myself into someone strong. The calendar on my wall confirmed my impossible reality. March 15th, 5 years earlier than the day I'd just lived. The day I'd died, the day I'd, blacked out, had a stroke watching my sister steal my life? No, this was different. The memories were too vivid, too solid. I remembered everything, every betrayal, every stolen idea, every time my family had chosen Vanessa over me. Every moment of the next 5 years played in my mind like a movie I'd already seen. I knew what was coming. I knew that in 3 weeks I'd start working out in secret after our mother compared my body unfavorably to Vanessa's for the 100th time. I knew that Vanessa would ignore fitness entirely for the next 2 years, too busy with her boyfriend Tyler and her social media presence to care about health. I knew that after Tyler left her for someone else, she'd spiral, then suddenly discover a passion for fitness, right when I'd started seeing results. I knew she'd watch me train. She'd memorize my routines. She'd steal my notebooks when I wasn't home. She'd befriend the trainers I consulted with, pump them for information, then use my own research to build her empire while I was left with nothing. But not this time. This time, I had something she couldn't steal. Knowledge of the future. The abuse had started small, the way it always does. I was 7 when Vanessa was born, and overnight, I stopped existing. Every parent says they love their children equally, but my mother made no such pretense. Vanessa was beautiful, objectively, undeniably beautiful, even as an infant. She had our mother's features, delicate and symmetrical, while I'd inherited our father's broader face and heavier build. "Harper's gonna be the smart one," Mom would tell relatives, as if intelligence were a consolation prize for being physically lacking. "Vanessa's our little star." By the time Vanessa was 5 and I was 12, the dynamic was set in stone. Vanessa got new clothes, I got hand-me-downs from cousins. Vanessa got piano lessons and dance classes, I got library books and lectures about being grateful for what I had. When I made honor roll, Mom said, "That's nice, dear." When Vanessa drew a crooked flower, Mom framed it. Dad was worse because he was absent. He'd checked out of parenting entirely, burying himself in work, leaving mom to run the household. When I tried to tell him how left out I felt, he'd pat my head and say, "Your mother knows best, Harper. Don't cause problems." High school was hell. Vanessa glided through it on her looks and charm, while I studied obsessively, trying to prove I had value. I got into a decent college. Vanessa got into the same one on a scholarship she'd plagiarized using an essay I'd written and left on the family computer. I couldn't prove it. She swore she'd written it herself. Mom believed her. College was where things escalated. We ended up as roommates. Mom's idea to save money. Vanessa would bring guys back to our dorm constantly, forcing me to sleep in the library. She'd eat my food, wear my clothes, and borrow my class notes before big exams. When I confronted her, she'd cry to Mom, who'd call me jealous and bitter. "Why can't you be happy for your sister?" Mom would demand. "Why do you always have to make everything about you?" After graduation, we both moved back home. I couldn't afford my own place on my diner salary, and Vanessa didn't work at all. Mom supported her fully while charging me rent. That's when I discovered fitness. It happened by accident. I'd been feeling depressed, heavy, invisible. One day I walked into a gym offering a free trial week. The trainer, an older woman named Ruth, had shown me some basic moves. For the first time in my life, I felt powerful, capable, like I was building something that was mine alone. I became obsessed. I read everything I could find about exercise science, nutrition, biomechanics. I woke up at 5 a.m. to train before my shifts. I documented everything in detailed notebooks, sets, reps, rest periods, how each exercise affected my body. I learned which muscle groups to train together, how to prevent injury, how to maximize results. The transformation took 2 years. I lost 60 pounds. I gained muscle definition I didn't know my body could achieve. I felt alive, and I watched Vanessa watch me. She'd wander into the living room while I did floor exercises, pretending to scroll on her phone. She'd ask casual questions about my routine. She'd rifle through my gym bag when I was at work. I was too naive to see it then, but in hindsight, it was obvious. She was studying me like I was a textbook. Then came Tyler's departure and Vanessa's convenient fitness awakening. "I just really want to focus on my health," she'd announced one morning, wearing a brand new workout outfit that cost more than my entire gym wardrobe. "Harper, you've been so dedicated. I'd love to learn from you." I'd been thrilled. Stupidly, pathetically thrilled. My sister finally wanted to connect with me over something I loved. I showed her everything. Every exercise, every modification, every principle I'd learned. Within 6 months, she'd taken my knowledge, repackaged it with her pretty face and social media following, and built an empire. She never credited me once. When I confronted her, she laughed. "Harper, these are basic exercises. You didn't invent them. I just present them better." Mom agreed. "Vanessa has charisma, Harper. She knows how to connect with people. You're too intense. People don't want to follow someone who looks angry all the time." The Fitness Influencer Expo was supposed to be my breakthrough. I'd saved for months to get a booth. I'd prepared a presentation of my signature routine, a unique combination of calisthenics, resistance training, and mobility work that produced remarkable results. Vanessa got there first. She performed my routine on the main stage to thunderous applause. When I tried to explain to the organizers that she'd stolen my work, they looked at me with pity. "Ma'am, Vanessa Chen has been posting about this routine for months. She has thousands of followers. Who are you?" That's when I'd left, walked to that gym, and watched her demonstrate my moves to my future employer. That's when everything went dark. Now, sitting in my 18-year-old body, I had a choice to make. I could do everything the same way, hoping the outcome would somehow be different, or I could change the game entirely. I spent 3 days locked in my room planning. Mom knocked occasionally, asking if I was sick, but she didn't push. She never pushed. It is for me. I used that time to map out every memory I had of the next 5 years. I wrote down dates, names, opportunities. I cataloged every mistake I'd made, every moment Vanessa had exploited. Then I called my grandmother. Grandma Helen was my father's mother, a woman I barely knew. Dad had some kind of falling out with her before I was born, and she'd been excommunicated from family events. I'd met her maybe 5 times in my life. Always briefly, always awkwardly. But I remembered something from my previous life. A newspaper article I'd seen during my college years about a wealthy philanthropist donating millions to health initiatives. The woman in the photo had been Grandma Helen. My father had been too proud to reconcile with her, too stubborn to admit he'd married poorly and made mistakes. But I had no such pride left, not anymore. Harper? Her voice was surprised when she answered. Is everything all right? Grandma Helen, I need to talk to you privately. Can we meet somewhere? There was a long pause. Your father doesn't have to know. Another pause. Then, there's a cafe downtown, the Bluebird. Tomorrow at 2? Grandma Helen was nothing like I'd expected. Elegant in a way my mother tried and failed to achieve, she sat ramrod straight in the cafe booth, studying me with sharp gray eyes. You look like your grandfather, she said. Same stubborn jaw. I didn't waste time with pleasantries. I need your help. I need to become someone my family can't ignore anymore. Tell me everything. So I did, not about the rebirth, I wasn't that crazy, but about the favoritism, the neglect, the way Vanessa took everything from me and faced no consequences. I told her about my fitness journey, how I'd taught myself through books and determination, how I wanted to build something real. Helen listened without interrupting. When I finished, she was quiet for a long moment. My son is a fool, she finally said. He married a narcissist and let her poison his children against each other. I've watched from a distance, hoping he'd change. He never did. She reached across the table and took my hand. But you're here now. That takes courage. I need a trainer, I said, a real one. Someone who can take me from where I am to elite level. I can't afford it. Not on my own. What's your timeline? 5 years. I want to be undeniable in 5 years. Helen smiled. It was a predator's smile, and I recognized it because I'd seen it in my own reflection that morning. I know someone. His name is Marcus Joe. He's trained Olympic athletes, professional bodybuilders, and elite military units. He's expensive, prohibitively so. She pulled out her phone. He also happens to owe me a favor. Marcus Joe didn't look like the trainers I'd worked with in my previous life. He was 60-something, compact and powerful, with a gray crew cut and scars on his forearms that suggested a history I didn't want to ask about. He assessed me with the cold calculation of someone evaluating livestock. You're soft, he said bluntly. Weak. No muscle definition, poor posture, probably haven't done a real workout in your life. That's why I'm here. Most girls want to lose weight, get toned, look good in a bikini. Is that what you want? No, I want to be strong, really strong. I want to build something nobody can take from me. Something shifted in his expression. Why? Because everything else in my life can be stolen. Strength can't be. He nodded slowly. All right, but I don't train quitters. You show up late once, we're done. You complain, we're done. You half-ass a single rep, we're done. Understood? Understood. We start tomorrow, 5 a.m. Wear something you don't mind destroying. The training was agony. Marcus didn't believe in easing into things. That first morning, he worked me until I vomited in a trash can, then made me finish the workout. He taught me Olympic lifts, plyometrics, advanced calisthenics, and gymnastics movements I didn't know humans could perform. He corrected every micro movement, demanding perfection. You're not training to look pretty, he'd snap when I'd collapse, shaking. You're training to be functional. There's a difference. Between sessions with Marcus, I studied. I read everything I could about exercise science, sports nutrition, biomechanics, and training methodology. I documented everything in encrypted digital files Vanessa couldn't access. I learned about program periodization, progressive overload, and recovery protocols. I also stayed away from home as much as possible. Mom noticed, of course. Where have you been every morning? And why are you always so tired? Gym, I said shortly. Oh, Harper, and she sighed. You know, there are easier ways to lose weight. Vanessa's doing this new. I'm not interested in what Vanessa's doing. Her eyes narrowed. That's a terrible attitude. Your sister is just trying to help. By helping herself to everything I have? That's enough. You're being dramatic. She turned away. Meh. Dinner's at 6. Try to look presentable. I skipped dinner. I had a training session. 6 months in, my body started changing. Real muscle appeared on my frame. Not the soft, toned look magazines promised, but actual strength. My shoulders broadened, my thighs thickened. I could do pull-ups, proper ones, 20 in a row. I could deadlift my body weight. I was becoming someone else. Vanessa noticed. Oh my God, Harper, you're getting so bulky, she said one morning, her nose wrinkled. Don't you think you should ease up? Guys don't like girls with too much muscle. Good thing I'm not doing it for guys. I'm just saying, you're gonna look masculine. I've been reading about fitness. Did you know you can get toned without getting big? There are these great resistance band workouts. I'm not interested. She blinked, surprised by my curtness. In my old life, I would have engaged, would have explained my goals, would have shared my research. This time, I just walked away. Mom cornered me later. What's gotten into you? You're being so rude to Vanessa. She's only trying to bond with you. Is she, or is she trying to figure out what I'm doing so she can copy it? How dare you? Your sister loves you. I can't believe you'd accuse her of... Has she asked about my training or just made comments about my body? Mom sputtered, unable to answer, because we both knew the truth. 1 year in, Marcus started introducing me to his network. These weren't Instagram trainers or gym bros. These were the real deal. Physiotherapists who worked with professional athletes, nutritionists who designed Olympic meal plans, sports psychologists who understood the mental game. You're not just building a body, Marcus explained. You're building a knowledge base. When people copy your workouts, you'll be 10 steps ahead with the science they can't see. He was right. I was learning things Vanessa could never replicate through observation. I understood muscle fiber types, energy systems, hormonal responses to training. I could design periodized programs for different goals, adapt workouts for injuries, and explain the biochemistry behind every exercise choice. Grandma Helen funded everything. The training, the education, the supplements, the physical therapy when I inevitably got injured. In return, she asked only that I keep her updated on my progress and join her for dinner once a month. Those dinners became therapy sessions. I'd vent about my family and she'd listen with the wisdom of someone who'd navigated her own share of narcissists. Your father was like this as a boy, she said once. Smart but weak. He chose the easy path, a beautiful woman who flattered him, a life where he could hide from real challenges. He's teaching your sister the same lessons. She poured more tea. But you're different. You're more like your grandfather. We don't quit. 2 years in, I entered my first amateur fitness competition. Mom was appalled. Harper, those bikinis are so revealing. Don't you have any modesty? It's a bodybuilding competition, Mom. That's the uniform. I think it's wonderful, Vanessa chimed in, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. I mean, it's not really my thing, but if you like it, though aren't those competitions super catty? And don't you have to do, fake tans and everything? Yep. And you're okay with being judged on your body like that? I'm being judged on the body I built. There's a difference. She frowned, confused by my confidence. The old Harper would have been defensive, would have over-explained. This Harper just walked away. I placed third in my category. Marcus was pleased. You're raw still, but you've got potential. Another year, and you'll be competitive at the state level. Grandma Helen came to the competition. She was the only family member there. After my category, she hugged me tight. Your grandfather would be so proud. He was a boxer, did I ever tell you? Built his gym from nothing. She pulled back, her eyes bright. You have his fire. 3 years in, everything accelerated. I was 21 now, enrolled in a sports science program Grandma Helen paid for. I was working as an assistant coach at Marcus's gym, learning the business side of fitness. My physique was lean and powerful, nothing like the soft prettiness society expected from women. I could squat 225 pounds, bench 135, deadlift 315. I was studying for my personal training certification, my nutrition coaching license, and my corrective exercise specialist designation. I was becoming everything I'd been in my previous life, but better, smarter, more strategic. Vanessa, meanwhile, was floundering. In this timeline, without my knowledge to steal, she'd gone through a series of failed pursuits. She'd tried to be a lifestyle blogger, but her content was superficial and her engagement was low. She'd attempted modeling, but at 24, she was already too old for the industry. She'd dated a series of men who left her when they realized she had no substance beyond her looks. She'd also gained weight. Not much, but enough that Mom fussed over her constantly. "Vanessa, honey, you should really watch what you eat. Remember how good you looked in high school?" I watched this play out with detachment. In my previous life, this would have been when Vanessa discovered fitness and began her theft. This time, she had nothing to steal. I trained at Marcus's private facility, not the public gym. I kept my research locked away. I shared nothing. One evening, she knocked on my door. "Harper, can we talk?" I was studying program design, but I closed my laptop. "Sure." She sat on my bed, picking at her cuticles. "I've been thinking, you're really into fitness now, right?" "Yeah." "Could you maybe teach me? Like, show me your routine?" This was it, the moment I'd been waiting for. "No," she blinked. "A what?" I said no, find a trainer. "But you're my sister. I thought you'd want to help me." "The way you wanted to help me when I made honor roll? Or when I got into college? Or any of the 1,000 times I needed someone in my corner and you were nowhere to be found?" Her face flushed. "That's not fair. We were just kids. You're 24, Vanessa. When does the kid excuse expire?" "I can't believe how cold you're being. Mom said you'd changed, but I thought she was exaggerating." Mom says a lot of things. Most of them are lies she tells herself to avoid feeling guilty. Vanessa's eyes filled with tears, her usual weapon. "I just wanted to spend time with you, to bond over something you care about." "Then spend time with me. Have dinner with me. Ask about my day. Don't just show up when you need something." She stood up, tears streaming. You've become so mean. I don't even know who you are anymore." After she left, I felt a small pang of guilt. Then I remembered watching her present my routine on that stage, remembered the banner with her name, remembered the gym owner's dismissive look when I'd tried to defend myself. The guilt evaporated. 4 years in, I won my first state championship. The competition was fierce. Women who'd been training their entire lives, who had genetics I'd never been blessed with. But I'd worked harder than all of them. Marcus had pushed me beyond limits I didn't know existed. My routine was flawless, my conditioning was perfect, and my presentation was confident. When they called my name for first place, I searched the crowd for my family. Only Grandma Helen was there, standing and applauding. Mom and Dad hadn't come. Vanessa had a prior commitment, a date she couldn't reschedule. I wasn't surprised. I wasn't even hurt anymore. I was just done. After the competition, as I was packing my gear, a woman approached me. She was in her 40s, sharply dressed with the air of someone important. "Harper Chen, I'm Diana Rodriguez. I run a fitness education company. We develop certification programs and training systems for coaches worldwide." She handed me a business card. "Your approach is remarkable. Technical, but accessible. Strong foundation in science, but practical application. I've been watching your career." "Thank you. I'd like to talk to you about a partnership. We're developing a new certification program focused on strength training for women. We need someone who understands both the biomechanics and the psychological barriers women face. Someone who's lived it." This was new. In my previous timeline, this had never happened. But in that timeline, I'd been too busy being stolen from to build my own reputation. "I'm interested," I said. "Excellent. Let's have dinner this week. Bring your coach if you'd like. I know Marcus. He's good people." The partnership with Diana changed everything. Over the next 6 months, we developed a comprehensive certification program called Empowered Strength. It wasn't about getting bikini ready or looking toned. It was about teaching women to be genuinely strong, to understand their bodies, to train with purpose. We combined exercise science with psychological education, nutrition with sustainable lifestyle practices. I became the face of the program. Not because I was beautiful, I wasn't, not in the conventional sense, but because I was real. I'd transformed myself through knowledge and effort. I could deadlift my body weight with perfect form while explaining spinal mechanics. I could demonstrate a muscle up while discussing the importance of progressive overload. The program launched to modest success. A few hundred trainers certified in the first year. But word spread. Our certified coaches got results with their clients. Women who'd spent years doing cardio and light weights suddenly understood how to build real strength. They got stronger, more confident, more capable. By year 5, by the present moment I died in my original timeline, Empowered Strength had certified over 5,000 coaches. And Diana and I were traveling to teach workshops. Gyms were implementing our methodology. I was making 6 figures annually just from the certification royalties, not counting my personal training clients. And Marcus's gym, where I was now a partner, was thriving. We'd opened 2 more locations. I managed the training programs while Marcus handled operations. Grandma Helen was a silent investor, taking no credit but accepting the dividends with pride. "You've built something remarkable," she told me at our monthly dinner. "More importantly, you've built it honorably. You didn't step on anyone to get here." The Fitness Influencer Expo came around again. This time, I wasn't scrambling for a booth in the back. Diana and I had been invited as keynote speakers. Our topic? The science of strength, building programs that actually work. I was backstage reviewing my slides when Marcus found me. "Your sister's here." My stomach dropped, like, where? "She signed up for one of the morning workshops. Didn't realize you'd be speaking until she got here, I think. She's in the audience now." I peeked out at the crowd. There she was, sitting near the back, looking smaller somehow. She'd clearly been working out. She was thinner than she'd been a year ago, but there was a desperation to her appearance. Her workout clothes were expensive, but ill-fitting, chosen for brand rather than function. Next to her was Mom. Mom had aged hard. The stress of living with 2 daughters she couldn't manipulate and a husband who'd rather work than come home had etched lines around her mouth. She kept glancing at Vanessa, whispering things that made my sister's expression tighten. I felt nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, no vindication. Just a vast, empty neutrality. Diana touched my shoulder. "You ready?" "Yeah." We walked on stage to applause. 2,000 people filled the conference hall. Trainers, gym owners, fitness enthusiasts, people who'd come to learn from us. I saw the moment Vanessa recognized me on stage. Her mouth fell open. Mom's hand flew to her chest. Diana handled the introductions, then I took the microphone. 5 years ago, I was 18 years old and I didn't know what a deadlift was. I was soft, weak, and lost. I discovered fitness by accident and it changed my life. Not because it made me look better, though that was a nice side effect, but because it taught me that I could build something from nothing, that I could be strong. I clicked to the first slide, a photo of me at 18, soft and uncertain. This is where I started. If you'd told this girl she'd be standing here today, she wouldn't have believed you. But here's what she did believe. That effort matters. That knowledge compounds. That strength, real strength, can't be faked or stolen or borrowed. It has to be built, rep by rep, day by day. Another slide, me mid-deadlift, pulling 315 pounds. This didn't happen because I'm special. It happened because I found the right teachers, because I put in the work, and because I refused to quit on the days when quitting would have been easier. I saw Vanessa whispering to Mom, saw Mom shaking her head in disbelief. For the next 90 minutes, Diana and I taught. We demonstrated lifts. We explained programming principles. We answered questions about everything from hormonal responses to injury prevention. The audience was engaged, taking notes, asking intelligent questions. When we finished, the applause was thunderous. During the Q&A after, a young woman raised her hand. "How do you deal with people who try to copy your work?" I've had other trainers steal my programs and claim them as their own. The room went quiet. I glanced at Diana, who nodded slightly. It happened to me, I said. In another life, or it almost happened anyway, someone close to me tried to take everything I'd built and claim it as their own. At first, I was angry. Then I realized something. You can copy someone's workout routine, but you can't copy their understanding of why it works. You can steal someone's program, but you can't steal their education, their experience, or their ability to adapt when things go wrong. I clicked to a slide showing the Empowered Strength logo. The best protection against theft is depth. If your value is just a list of exercises, you're vulnerable. But if your value is your knowledge, your coaching ability, your capacity to assess and adapt, that can't be stolen. Build yourself so deep that the surface is irrelevant. Scattered applause. The young woman nodded, satisfied. After the presentation, dozens of people wanted to talk to us. Trainers seeking advice, gym owners interested in partnerships, athletes looking for coaching. I spoke to them all patiently, sharing knowledge freely now that I had so much to give. I didn't see when Vanessa and Mom left. They simply weren't there anymore when I finally looked for them. They showed up at my apartment that evening. I'd just gotten home from the expo, exhausted but satisfied, when the buzzer rang. I checked the camera and saw them standing there, Mom looking imperious, Vanessa looking diminished. I considered not answering, but curiosity won. "What do you want?" Mom pushed past me into the apartment. Her eyes scanned the space, the nice furniture, the professional photos on the walls, the evidence of a life well built. "Is this how you treat your mother? Making her wait in the hallway?" "You didn't call. I didn't know you were coming." Vanessa followed meekly behind. She looked around my apartment with something like awe. "Harper, this place is gorgeous. How can you afford—" "I work. I built a business. I made smart choices." Mom's expression soured. "We saw your little presentation today. Very impressive. Though I noticed you didn't mention your family at all." "Why would I?" "Because we're your family. We supported you, but you didn't." The words came out flat, factual. "You charged me rent while giving Vanessa free housing. You funded her hobbies while I worked double shifts. You believed her lies over my truth every single time. Don't rewrite history now that it's convenient." Mom's face flushed. "I did the best I could. You were always so difficult, so angry." "I was neglected. There's a difference. We came here because Vanessa has something to say." Mom pushed my sister forward. Vanessa looked at the floor. I wanted to apologize for not being a better sister, for taking you for granted." "Okay." She looked up, surprised. "Okay?" "I accept your apology. Is that all?" "I was also wondering—" She twisted her hands together. "If maybe you could train me. I'll pay, obviously. I saw you up there today, and I realized I've been doing everything wrong. I've been trying these Instagram workouts, but they don't work, and I thought maybe—" "No." "Harper." Mom's voice had an edge. "Your sister is asking for help. And I'm saying no. I have clients who pay $200 an hour for my time. Clients who respect me and value my expertise. Why would I train someone who spent my entire life treating me as less than?" "Because she's your sister." "So, what has that ever meant in this family? When has being sisters translated to loyalty or support or basic kindness?" Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. "I know I've been a bad sister. I know I've been selfish. But I'm trying to change. I'm trying to be better." "Then be better. Work on it. Hire a trainer you can afford. Put in the effort. Do what I did. Start from scratch and build something real." "But I don't know how." "Then learn. The information is everywhere. Books, certifications, workshops. I didn't have anyone holding my hand. Figure it out." Mom drew herself up. "This is cruel. You're being deliberately cruel." I'm being honest, there's a difference. We're your family, Harper. You're supposed to help us. Why? What have you ever done for me? The question hung in the air. Mom's mouth opened and closed, but no words came out because there was no answer. Nothing that would sound good when spoken aloud. That's what I thought. I walked to the door and opened it. I think you should leave now. Harper, leave, before I say things we can't come back from. Vanessa fled first, tears streaming. Mom followed, but paused in the doorway. You've become hard, she said. I don't know what happened to my little girl. She grew up, in spite of you, not because of you. After they left, I stood in my empty apartment and waited to feel something. Guilt, maybe. Regret. But there was nothing except relief. I texted Grandma Helen. They came by, didn't go well. Her response was immediate. Good. Dinner tomorrow? I'll make pot roasts. I smiled. Sounds perfect. 6 months later, Vanessa tried one more time. She showed up at my gym, one of the locations where I taught advanced classes. She'd signed up under a fake name, thinking I wouldn't notice until she was there. I noticed. Marcus pulled me aside before class. Your sister's in the beginner section. Want me to handle it? No, I've got it. I walked over to where Vanessa was setting up her mat. She looked healthier than she had at the expo. She'd clearly been working out regularly. But her form was terrible. She was setting up for a deadlift with her back rounded, her feet too close together. Stop, she jumped. Harper, your form is dangerous. You're going to hurt yourself. Did you pay for this class? Yes. Then you're entitled to proper instruction. Come here. For the next hour, I taught her correct form. Not because I'd forgiven her, but because I was a professional and she was a paying client. I corrected her squat depth, adjusted her hip hinge, showed her how to engage her core properly. She tried to chat between sets. You're really good at this. I can see why people love your programs. Thank you. Maybe we could grab coffee after, catch up? I don't think that's a good idea. Her face fell. Harper, I'm really trying here. I'm trying to fix things between us. Then keep showing up to class, learn the material, become strong. That's the only relationship I'm offering. That's it? Just trainer and client? That's more than you ever offered me. She was quiet for a moment. Then, you're right. You're absolutely right. She wiped her eyes. Can I ask you something? Sure. When did you stop loving me? Like, when did I lose you completely? I thought about it. The moment I died, the banner with her name, the years of accumulated cruelty. I don't think I stopped loving you, I said finally. I think I started loving myself more. And once I did that, there wasn't room for people who treated me poorly. Even if they're family? Especially if they're family. Family should be the people who build you up, not tear you down. She nodded slowly. I'm going to keep coming to class. Not to win you back or fix things. Just to learn. Is that okay? As long as you pay and follow the rules, it's fine. She did keep coming. Week after week, month after month. She didn't try to force closeness or manufacture bonding moments. She just showed up, worked hard, and gradually improved. I watched her transformation with professional interest. She was consistent, which I respected. She listened to corrections without arguing. She asked smart questions. After 6 months, she'd lost the desperate quality that had clung to her at the expo. She looked grounded, capable. One day after class, she approached me. I wanted to thank you. For what? For not making this easy, for forcing me to actually do the work. She smiled slightly. I've had everything handed to me my whole life. This is the first thing I've had to earn. How does it feel? Hard, but good, really good. I nodded. That's real strength. Not the physical part, the mental part. Showing up when it's hard. Can I ask you something else? Sure. Do you think we'll ever be close again? Like really close? Sisters? I considered it. I don't know, maybe, but it won't look like it did before. I don't want it to look like it did before. That was toxic. Then maybe we can build something new. Slowly, if you're willing to put in the work. I am. I promise. I studied her face, looking for the manipulation, the calculated tears, the self-serving agenda. But all I saw was sincerity, and exhaustion, and hope. Okay, I said. But we're going to have boundaries, real ones. And if you cross them, we're done. I understand. And you're still paying for classes. She laughed. I wouldn't have it any other way. 2 years later, Vanessa became certified through Empowered Strength. She passed every exam, completed every practical assessment, and earned her credentials legitimately. She opened a small training studio focusing on women rebuilding their lives after trauma, addiction, divorce, abuse. Her approach was gentle but firm, emphasizing the connection between physical strength and mental resilience. It was good work, important work. Work she couldn't have done without genuinely transforming herself first. Mom never apologized. She and Dad divorced eventually. He'd apparently had a long-term affair, which explained his perpetual absence. Mom moved to Florida with her sister, still bitter, still convinced she'd been a perfect parent done wrong by ungrateful children. I didn't miss her. Dad tried to reconnect after the divorce, but it was too late. I was polite but distant. He'd made his choices, and I'd made mine. Grandma Helen remained my anchor. When she passed away at 89, she left me a third of her estate, enough to expand my business significantly and endow a scholarship fund for young women pursuing fitness education. At her funeral, Dad approached me. I didn't realize you two were so close. You wouldn't. You never asked. I'm sorry, Harper, for everything. I know, but some things can't be fixed with sorry. He nodded, looking old and defeated. She loved you very much. I know, she was the only one who did. Now, at 28, 3 years past the age I'd been when I died in my original timeline, I stood in the main location of what had become the Chen Strength Systems gym chain. 6 locations across 3 states, 200 employees, thousands of clients transformed. Diana and I had just finished filming a documentary about our certification program. It would air on a major streaming platform next month, bringing our methodology to millions. Marcus was retiring, finally, leaving the business entirely in my hands. He'd built it, but I'd expanded it. You did good, kid, he said at his retirement party. Better than good. I had a good teacher. You had the fire. I just gave you the matches. Vanessa was there too, celebrating Marcus. She and I had built something not quite sisterhood, but not quite strangers either. We texted occasionally, had dinner every few months, attended each other's professional events. It was cordial, respectful, boundaried. It would never be what it could have been if we'd both been different people. But it was honest, and that was enough. Late that night, alone in my apartment, I thought about the moment I'd died, or whatever had happened in that gym 5 years ago. I thought about the second chance I'd been given, the knowledge I'd carried forward, the choices I'd made differently. I'd thought revenge would feel satisfying. But this wasn't really revenge. Revenge would have been destroying Vanessa, ruining her life intentionally, making her suffer the way she'd made me suffer. This was something better, building a life so full, so rich, so deeply mine that her presence or absence became irrelevant, building strength that couldn't be stolen, building knowledge that couldn't be copied, building relationships based on mutual respect rather than obligatory blood ties. I'd won. Not by beating her, but by refusing to play a game where beating her mattered. My phone buzzed. A text from a new client. Thank you for today's session. I deadlifted 135 for the first time ever. I cried. In a good way, I smiled. This was what mattered. Not revenge, not vindication, but the quiet revolution of helping women discover their strength. The old Harper had died in that gym, watching her work stolen. The new Harper had been reborn, and she'd built an empire. Not with theft or shortcuts or borrowed knowledge, but with effort, education, and the stubborn refusal to be anyone's victim ever again. I opened my laptop and started planning next quarter's curriculum. There was always more work to do, more women to teach, more strength to build, and I couldn't wait.